least in the short run. The surprising results raise provocative questions about behavior in the workplace. Seth Spain led that research study. He joins us via Skype from Binghamton, where he's an assistant professor of organizational behavior. Seth, good to have you with us. Your research pretty much found that people who aren't very nice tend to have early success at their jobs. And we're talking about people who have personality traits that are referred to as the dark triad. Could you describe that for us?
So the dark triad, unsurprisingly, consists of three traits. Narcissism is probably the most well-known. These are people who they want to be the center of attention. They want status, control. They really actually they want to elevate themselves by making other people feel small. The second one is what we call Machiavellianism, which is being a manipulative personality. And the last one is psychopathy, which is sometimes called antisocial personality. And it's mostly characterized by not feeling guilt, shame, not having much in the way of empathy.
All right, why don't we start with the manipulators? Exactly what are their characteristics and why do they succeed?
Well, so one way that manipulators succeed is, well, first of all, they love getting one over on people. They enjoy manipulating people, and honestly, they don't even care once people figure it out. They like it when people think that they're bad. So they got that going for them, but they put themselves first. All three of these characteristics put themselves first, and the manipulator is willing to use a wide range of influence tactics to do it. Pretty much everything. Whereas a lot of people, we only have one or two, like maybe we ingratiate or use flattery to try to get ahead. They'll use everything. They'll move into threats. They'll form political alliances. They'll try to get their boss's boss to work on their boss. Things like that.
But ironically, that can actually work out for them, at least at first.
It can, and they have to be smart about it. You can't just try to manipulate people, because if you do it in a way that's obvious, it's kind of pathetic, and it doesn't work, and you'll wind up outcast pretty quickly in your workplace. But if you're smart and you can do it well in a way that people don't perceive quickly, then it can help you get ahead, because you're advancing your agenda. You're getting your goals accomplished.
And you talked about the bad things that narcissists bring to the table, but at the same time, narcissism can actually help people succeed too, because they want so much to succeed that they manage to, operate in a way that shows a lot of energy.
Yes, they're incredibly enthusiastic about their own ideas, their own projects, anything that they care about directly, they can show tremendous enthusiasm for, and enthusiasm that other people pick up on. It's part of how they can make a really good first impression, and how, like in a one-off sale, they might do a great job.
But then the third one is an antisocial personality. You just hear that and you think, how could that work for someone at all?
Well, one of the key things about the antisocial personality is that we often call them psychopaths. I said their key feature is they don't feel a lot of guilt, shame, or anxiety, but they're also pretty impulsive, which leads them to take a lot of risks associated with stuff that they want. And so since they take a lot of risks, sometimes those risks pay off. And so if you think about a psychopath who takes a big risk and it pays off, and then they take one more big risk and it pays off, all of a sudden they start to look like they have a reputation for getting things done and accomplishing big, risky things.
Right.
But of course, risk is risk, so they're eventually probably going to run into problems with that.
And you, of course, say these aren't really full-blown psychopaths. They operate at a lower level that's not quite that extreme. You say there are ways of spotting these bad apples?
Well, mostly you want to watch the way they interact with other people, not directly with you. Like, for instance, someone who's manipulative is probably going to be trying to manipulate the way you perceive them. So watching how they work with other people. Like I've said, these are people who are nice to you but rude to the waiter. So they tend to be respectful and deferential to their supervisors and pretty awful to their peers and just plain terrible to their subordinates.
And you say that you can't fool all the people all the time, and that all these folks at some point that they will show their true colors, and that they don't always succeed in the long run.
In the long run, most people who have a high elevation on one or more of the dark triad traits will begin to alienate people, begin to develop a reputation as being hostile, rude, arrogant, aloof, any number of interpersonally negative things. Like the person who coined the term dark triad, Del Paulis at University of British Columbia, calls these things socially noxious traits, and it's hard to keep that smell under wraps.
So hopefully karma will catch up to them over time. Seth Spain, pleasure to have you with us. Thanks.
Thank you.
Coming up.